Welcome to Hooked on Enduro. This is the second episode of the Couch to Glen Helen series. In December, I decided that after 2 years of a really abusive work schedule that had resulted in not getting able to go out and do much riding or racing and getting really out of shape, that I decided that I wanted to do something, I guess you could say, memorable and do something unique in the process of losing weight and making changes in my life. And I decided that I was going to race the 24 hours of Glen Helen. And I did some research to figure out how I wanted to go about doing this most effectively. And if you look on the internet on how to lose weight, there's about 1 million people out there trying to sell you a million different things to be able to lose weight fast. And I found that over the years of when I've decided to lose weight, gimmicky things, they may work for a week or two, but they're non-sustainable. And oftentimes I've ended up heavier than where I started. So what I did this time around is I was going to take a very old school traditional approach. And through my research, I decided I was going to go with the approach of calorie deficit. So in other words, making sure that the amount that I eat is not exceeding the amount I burn each day. But I decided not to go overly aggressive with this because I've done it in the past and I lost weight, but because I got too aggressive, it wasn't sustainable. So I decided to go with a calorie amount that was enough to lose weight, but not aggressively. So for me, that worked out to be about 1,800 calories a day. Then the other half of this is to increase the amount of calories burned. So I did some research into targeted heart rate training. All right, so with the program we're doing, and we're going to be using zone training, one of the things you need to do to be able to do zone training is to figure out your max heart rate. Now there's accurate scientific tools to accomplish that, which I don't have access to. So what we'll do is we'll use one of the more simple formulas as a starting point. The more simple formula is to take 220 and subtract from that your age. In my case, that means my max heart rate would be 186 beats per minute. Now I've found through my training that my actual max heart rate is higher than this. And so when we go into when I show you the zones, I'm going to actually base it off a little bit closer to what I think mine is. But if you're doing something similar to this is a simple way to give you some numbers to start building some targets off of that are going to be reasonably accurate enough. All these zones that we're going to be talking about are percentages of your max heart rate. So zone 1, which is 50 to 60% of your max heart rate, which is really a light load. Training in this zone, so doing your workout and keeping your heart rate in that range, the benefit you gain from training in that zone is a boost of recovery. So zone 2, which is going to be 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, and this is going to be a light load workout. In this zone, your key benefits from exercising in this zone is oxidizing or burning fat, improved muscular fitness, and improved capillary density. So this is a great zone to be able to train for long periods of time to lose weight as well as improve your cardiovascular system. Heart rate zone number 3, which is going to be 70 to 80% of your max heart rate. And this is some pretty moderate levels of working out. And inside this zone, you're going to get improved blood circulation and also strengthening your skeletal muscles. This is also a place where you start to build a lot of endurance as well. All right, zone 4. I'd like to have done this in yellow, but I don't have a yellow trace marker and probably would have struggled to see it anyway. So we'll use this color. It's going to be 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, and this can be a hard workout. And in this heart rate zone, you improve your speed endurance, you get better at using carbs for energy, and you're able to withstand higher levels of lactic acid in your bloodstream. Zone 5, the final zone, is going to be 90 to 100% of your max heart rate. This is your max output, and the benefit of it is improving your max output. This is a heart rate zone that you're not going to be able to sustain very long. This is where you're going to be producing a lot of lactic acid. Your blood and your respiratory system, they're going to be working at maximum capacity. So training in this area, you'll be able to sustain being in it longer. With what we're doing, I'm sure we'll be hitting those heart rate zones, but it really isn't going to be the focus of our training. And so I set my objective, close up here, was to do an hour at least 4 days a week, and aiming to be at about 130 beats per minute. I ordered a Polar heart rate monitor, which is an armband monitor that's pretty accurate and reasonably inexpensive. And I would use that in conjunction with my phone, and I'd start monitoring my workouts. So I have a stationary bike that I bought years ago in one of my other ventures to get healthy and get into better shape, and a light duty treadmill. And so I decided that I was going to use those two things to be able to sustain that heart rate. So on January 1st, I weighed myself in, and I weighed in at 257.4 pounds. Hands down the heaviest that I have ever been, and gnarliest number I've ever seen on the scale. All right, so here we are. It's January the 8th, so we've been doing the program, 8 days of calorie deficit training. We've been doing really good about the eating, been doing really good about the exercising and the food journaling. We've had a couple days where I've struggled to get the exercise in. The first day was particularly rough. Of my goal for doing a half hour on the first day, I made it 20 minutes before I was feeling it pretty hard. Now I'm up to the point where we can do a solid hour of target heart rate like we intended. Still having lots of cravings for the sugars and simple carbohydrates and sugary sodas. It does seem to be getting a little bit better, but I mean, we're only 1 week in. As far as what we're seeing on the scale, 0.2 away from having lost 10 pounds. I'm really struggling with is making time to get in front of the camera and film things that I'm doing, and I think a lot of that is I've never done anything like this. So being in front of a camera is not natural. Even right now, I don't feel like I'm in my own skin. It's just something that's second nature, or not second nature by any means, but I'm sure the more I do this, the more comfortable I'll get with it. And I think a big part of why that went well is, one, I gave myself enough calories to be able to not be starving. I went with a balance of 45% carbohydrates, 25% fats, 30% proteins, and those are percentage of the total calories. So it was off to a really good start. The scale was moving. I was eating what I aimed to. I was exercising like I'd aimed to. And then we came to a bit of a bump in the road. I had a trade show to go to attend with work in Las Vegas. And if I could name a city that's more about indulgence and ignoring self-discipline, there's no city that defines that better than Las Vegas. We stayed at the Venetian Hotel. Just an absolutely beautiful place. If you ever get a chance to stay at the Venetian, I highly recommend it. While we were in Vegas, I found it really tough to stay on top of food journaling. I did my best, but you're just making estimates. You don't have the luxury of using MyFitnessPal and scanning a barcode because you're eating in restaurants. So to help combat some of this calories that I knew I was going to be eating, I mean, even though I was going to be walking a lot every day at a trade show, I made a point to get up every morning and go out to the fitness center inside the Venetian, which is a really nice facility with a lot of great things that you can use in there. I made a point to get into the fitness center at the Venetian every morning. You have a really nice fitness center there with lots of great machinery to work with. I made it my goal to be in there every day for an hour, and there was a few days that I even pushed 2 hours. And then I would spend the entire day at the trade show walking what seemed like an infinite amount of steps, just the slow shuffle of trade show walking, if you've ever been to one of those. Each morning we made a point not to go out for breakfast. We just did simply eat a piece of fruit or something, just enough to get us by so we could help keep down on the total number of calories burned on the trip. And then when we got home, I got to weigh myself, and sure enough, the scale went up. But it wasn't really that bad. For being in Vegas for a week and eating out at least 2 meals a day, it really didn't have any meaningful impact on my weight loss. I was really happy with how pushing through was able to be able to keep trajectory, and having access to the fitness center made that a much more attainable goal of not backsliding on that trip. I finished out the rest of the month of January. At this point, I still hadn't been able to get out and ride dirt bikes at all, whether it be because it was too cold or there was snow. But wintertime in Wyoming is not exactly the most friendly for trying to get out and ride dirt bikes. Go figure. At the last day of the month, I was able to finally get out and go ride. And it was rough. At that point, it'd be the first ride I'd been on since I did an event last November. But on the upside of it, with all the cardio I've been doing with my targeted heart rate training, I was able to do our whole loop without having to sit down on the seat, and I was able to do the whole thing on the pegs. Normally it takes me a couple rides to get my legs conditioned to the point when I start the year that I can actually go out and ride our whole loop without sitting down. So it was an exciting moment to realize what I was doing was already having an impact. Now, the main focus of January was all about heart rate. Everything I ate, everything I did exercise-wise, everything was totally targeted toward burning fat. And my final weigh-in at the end of January was 235.6 pounds. So in the month of January, I lost a total of 21.8 pounds in a single month. And to say I was excited would be a bit of an understatement. I was really stoked about that. As we go into February, as much as I'd like to continue being 100% focused on burning fat, every month that goes by, I'm 1 month closer to bracing. And with everything I did with burning fat, while I felt better and it was getting easier to do the cardio, fat burning focused heart rate cardio is really good for you, but it doesn't exactly increase your endurance or your strength. So while I wanted to stay doing that zone of focused heart rate, I knew for February we're going to have to make some changes to start moving towards our ultimate goal. And as we go through and do each of the different months and some of the stuff in between, the program is going to have to shift and change to be what I need it to be, as we get closer. So with our first month in the books, it being the goal of losing weight, I can't ask for better success. So hopefully you'll find those little tidbits of information on how I lost those 20 pounds. Maybe that'll be something that's useful for you. If you found this useful, interesting, or want to keep tabs on the next videos that we'll be doing, like, subscribe, comment. We're going to be doing some unique stuff this year, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. With a 20-pound loss in the first month, I think it's a great start, and I'm excited about that. Thanks for watching, you guys. I can't do that.